Welcome to the We're Good podcast, where we are celebrating the everyday brilliance of people working toward a more positive world. If you're looking for the good that's taking place around you, you've come to the right place. The high price of college tuition, job training, and job gaps are major challenges facing so many these days. But there's an organization called Year Up United that's changing the education and job landscape in the DMV, offering job training, internships, mentoring, and free college course tuition. Today, you'll hear from one graduate who will tell you how his life was changed at a gas station and who now mentors others as a vice president in the high-tech field. We'll hear how oftentimes these students' internships take them right into the workforce. It's a story where hope meets hard work and success. Let's meet the folks at Year Up United as we continue to share the good around us here on the We're Good podcast. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Leanne Necessary. I'm your host of We're Good. We're excited to be back for another episode of We're Good. Today, joining us, Lisa Wiley and Emerson Ramos. And they are actually here with the organization Year Up, which is a national tuition-free job training program. And it offers a proven path to career success. And we just thank you both so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
for having us.
And I'm going to let you both kind of tell us what it is you do and how you're related and really connected to Year Up. Lisa, let's start with you. Tell us about Year Up, what your job title is, but also kind of what you do and what brought you to this amazing organization.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Again, I am Lisa Wiley. I am the site director for the NCR market. And so Year Up is in 20 cities across the country. And so our market in this NCR, National Capital Region, I serve as the site director. And when I think about it, I came in love with program, but as the site director, I have the privilege to really work with everyone from admissions to operations inside and out of the business, as well as program, our retention and outcomes for the market.
And for anyone that's listening that really has not heard of Year Up, What is Year Up?
Good. So thank you for asking. Year Up is a 1 year, we usually say 1 year, but Year Up is a organization where we're a competitive workforce development program. And in the program, we allow young adults to come in who may feel like college is not for them and they want to learn a skill or a trade. And so our mission is to close the opportunity divide and ensure that young adults has the skills that they need to earn livable wage careers. And that may not mean a 4-year college or a 2-year college, but how do you come in? How do you learn? How do you develop? And then how do you go in and have hands-on experience to earn that career at the end?
Wonderful. And of course, you have a lot of alums, and one of them is here with us today. Emerson Ramos, thank you so much for joining us. So right now, you are currently the head of client services at Carlyle Group in Washington, D.C. That is just wonderful. And that you were part of the Year Up program and that it really it made a difference in your life, you said.
Yeah, it made a huge difference in my life. I mean, I would think 10 years ago, I would have never thought I would be running a global organization, one of the largest PE firms in the world. It's a journey. It's an interesting story to tell people all the time. And, they always get fascinating. They have this look of like, really, you can do it. And maybe I could.
Tell us about your journey. It is a fascinating story, and I think that listeners would really love to hear. How did you find Year Up, or how did someone find Year Up for you?
Now, this is a very important location. It was a gas station, okay? More particularly the Wawa gas station. I'm just pumping gas, and I get the tap on the shoulder, and it's a former high school teacher I had, and he's just asking me, what am I doing? Now, my plans at the time, no college, gonna be an electrician. That was the road. That was the plan. I had paperwork ready to go. And he's like, what, don't you like computers? Yeah, I do. Here, take this pamphlet. And it was a pamphlet for Year Up. Now, to be honest, I ignored it and put it down on the table. And my mother, who was very big on me going to college, was like, read it and was like, I like this. I like this for you. I've signed you up for the application. And so I was voluntold.
That's great. I love that term.
Yeah. So I went off. I did my interviews. And at the time, the facility was in Roslyn before they moved to Crystal City at the time. I did my one-on-one interviews, the group interviews, and then all the other paperwork they gave us, and I got in. And then from there, pretty much, I got into my phase. And at the time, you can't imagine, I had hair to my shoulder. Different Emerson at that time. But I got through the program. I had a couple infractions because I was late. But, I learned. And, you would have never caught me in a suit and a tie before year up. I really learned a lot. I learned professionalism. And then 6 months in, they're like, great, you're on your way to your internship, which I did at Carlyle. And so I did a lot of things there. I annoyed people. I asked a bunch of questions. What are you doing? How does it work? How can I do it? And I just picked up so many skill sets, and I was given a lot of opportunities through the years because I just kept building, doing, and learning.
And of course, that lift while we climb, which is what you're talking about. Lisa, that's what a lot of that comes. Do you think? I don't want to step on that idea, but you're saying that a lot of that questioning, and that came from Year Up.
Yeah, so teaching there, right? They taught us to question and learn and to network, right? Because how else are you going to know, right? If you don't already know, someone has to help you, lift you up to that next step.
What does that feel like to hear his story?
I'm smiling. This is what happens every graduation. You feel tired because it's hard work. You give so much, you pour in, but we tell our young adults, we can't want it more than you. So we don't want it more than them. You see them coming in with this desire and the grit to get it done. But at the end of the season or at the end of the cohort, we're tired. And then you hear an Emerson, you hear a story. It's like, I'm doing it all over again. Let's go do it again. Let's go and do it again. And so it's amazing to hear. But listening to you say the concept, lift as you climb, that is something that we really instill in our young adults from the very beginning. But for me, what that means is really making sure this is an opportunity, that you appreciate your opportunity. And when you go out, that you lift. So as you're going up, so he's the head leading things already. But as you're doing that, making sure that you leave room for the person that's going to come behind you. So as you lift and as you climb, lift the person that'll come behind you. And so interns like Emerson created the opportunity where a company said, hey, we'll take 2 interns. Now we'll take 10. And so lift as you climb. And he's been a perfect example and a model student of lift as you climb.
You're getting grade A plus, right? Yeah.
I always find it weird, right? I was the intern with a manager. Now I'm the manager getting interns. It's sometimes it freaks me out a little bit.
It's such a full circle. It is such a full circle. And that's what it's all about. The circle continues, right? And it gets bigger and bigger. The stone in the middle and all of the waves that go out. And actually, speaking about that, you just put together an amazing program.
Yes.
Tell us about that at Carlyle.
And it was a conversation. I was here in the DC Europe location for the Alliance for Tomorrow, I believe it was. And I spoke to Mary and I was like, you know what? I want to host an event for Europe, just out of the conversation. And then she followed up and said, were you serious about that? And so I sat there in my office. I said, yeah, let's do it. And so I went off, started planning things, started putting things together. And then I got the tap in the shoulder. We have diversity and inclusion councils within Carlyle, and we have one within our department. And they said, hey, one of our goals is to do something with Europe. And so they said, how can we help? We hear you're doing an event. And I said, free help? I'll take it. And so we started planning more, getting more people involved. We started collecting venues and support, and I got some funding so we can cater the event and do things like that. And so with the help of the team of Year Up and Carlyle and everybody, we were able to bring, about 70, 75 students on site and give them pretty much a full day of different topics from AI and how IT and finance works and just different things to kind of give them the perspective of here's what it is once you get into this place, right? Here's an industry and how the job is going to work, and get some insight on what finance and IT sees going down the road. So hey, you know what? I was thinking this, but maybe they're saying this. I might be interested in that. And I want to go ahead and explore that a little more.
That's fascinating. And also it gives them an idea of, they also see what a Year Up graduate has done and that you're giving back. But also it just broadens the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we're talking to Emerson today, but at least I know that you probably have, without saying any names, I know you probably have examples. If someone's listening today, and who are some of the other success stories, where they've gone and what they've done?
Oh, we have so many success
I know we only have
from
30 minutes. So.
that part. We need more time. Like I say, I need more time to talk about the success. And so being at Year Up for 10 years, I've seen, so 10 years, 20 or so cohorts, because we welcome new students into our program every 6 months, at least in the model in the NCR region. One of the models that we have, every 6 months we get to welcome a new class of young adults. But we've had young adults that have come in that were parents, head of household, and it's sad because students come in with responsibility, major responsibilities, and we're saying, give us this moment in your life, take the opportunity and run and go, right? And so one of the quotes I heard from a young lady that I work with in a different field, but one of the quotes she said, "Don't wish for it, work for it." And so the young adults come in with this idea: I wish I could, take care of my family. I wish I could, be this single mother and had the resources. And Year Up allows that opportunity to come in and you work for it and you obtain that success. So we've had single mothers that have come in, head of households that have come in. We've had young adult students who may have an immigrant mom or dad that they're taking care of or having to take their little sister or brother. So just responsibilities. Listen, we've had young adults that have come in that are 19 and 20 and making six figures when they're done because they took advantage of the opportunity. And so it's the stories like that they come in and their household income was very small, but they made it work for them. But they said, I want to make a change. I want to be the change in my community. I want to be the lead in my house. I want to be able to give back and take care of my children. And they come in, they graduate, and they are making livable wage careers when they walk out at 20,
right,
at 21,
right,
at 24. It's unbelievable.
And some people, I know that you were saying that you wanted to be an electrician, which is a wonderful career, but you chose this different path. Are there ways at Year Up, and I'm asking this because I know it's kind of evolving, are there ways for people to do dual tracks, or can they choose kind of the way they want to do things?
So great question. So not dual tracks, though they do have to choose a track. And so the tracks that we offer in this region are information technology, cyber, project management.
Okay.
But in that, everyone learns interpersonal skills. Everyone learns about finance. Everyone learns about customer service. And so you gain a host of skills. And so you have these hard skills that you walk away with in cyber or information technology or project management, but you walk away as a true professional. We learn about being dependable, showing up and showing out. And so all of our young adults learn customer service, budgeting and finance, as well as their hard skill.
Amazing, marketable skills.
Amazing.
And also the education component. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So Year Up, I always say, and I love, we work with a community college partner. I love our community college partner. I love Year Up because it's all the things. It's, when I think about Year Up and our program, Year Up allows you to come in, and in this learning and development, you're working on college level work. And so you're coming in, you're working with either our instructors in a course site, or you're working with the actual community college. And then after you do that work, you go into an internship where you actually get to practice all of that book work and the credits that you earned in those hard skills. You get to put it to work and practice. And so you learn in this professional environment, and then you go out. And more than 50% of our students, they actually convert at their internship. They convert there and they become wonderful employees there. But if they don't convert, they have the skills from the book work and the practice to go out and then earn that career and sustain that.
That's great. And of course, you said your mom was really interested. I'm sure there might be some moms and dads listening who would also be really interested in what was the selling feature for you? I know you said your mom really wanted you to do this, but what was when you got into it?
I brought her the pamphlet and I said, hey, I was handed this, but I don't think I'm going to do it. She read through it, and I think it was those points. Like at the time, I think it was like, oh, you get 15 college credits at the time, and you get this, and then the opportunities that afterwards. And I was like, you're going to get college and job experience? Yes. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, done, right? And you are, of course, living proof that she made a good decision. What would you say? Do you mentor to others, to some of the interns that come in? Are they kind of sometimes questionable about whether they're doing the right thing? So
it's funny. Probably maybe 2 years after I became an employee, where I started taking on the interns myself, and each one that comes through, I tell them, Carlyle is probably a unique place where you can learn a lot of stuff, but you have to take full advantage of it. And I would coach them through it. I would tell people, even the last cohort, who do you want to meet? I will make a phone call, and you're going to meet that person, right? And I was like, it doesn't take me long. In the worst case scenario, someone's going to say they can't. But I'm making the call, I'm making the connection. Now you have to take full, right? They teach us a lot about the networking aspect, right? Like, network is important, and you need to learn these skill sets. And there's one intern in particular that worked in our New York offices at the time, and he was on the service desk, networked with a bunch of people, took advantage of his opportunity. He's a full-time developer on a completely different team.
Wow. Okay, here we go. And we do want to point out that Europe is nationwide. You are representatives of the Washington, D.C. site. So we do want to say that. But can you tell me, both of you, Lisa, if you want to start, the importance of the corporate partnerships? I can only imagine if you don't have them, you can't offer things like what happened with Emerson and what you're actually encouraging others to do.
Absolutely. I think that's one of my favorite parts of Year Up. You can learn, you can be friendly, you can be the smartest person in the room, but without the network, without the opportunity of knowing, where the jobs or the careers are, or just even being able to have that moment that Emerson offered. Mm-hmm. Who do you want to meet? Let me allow you to meet them. And so our young adults, we don't give them anything. And so I love that we always say it's a hand up, not a hand out. And so if you come in and you earn, you have to pass your classes. You have to have points in your contract. You have to be motivated. You have to have all of these skills, or you have to do the thing to earn the next level. And then we get to work with amazing partners who believe in Europe, who believe in our mission, that there is room for people who to gain this skill because they have opportunities. There's a huge job gap. There's a gap in, hey, we need work. We need people to come in and fill these roles. And then there's a gap in people trained to be able to do it. And so our corporate partners allow us a space to say, I have a gap, and I want to work with your young adult because we know they're trained. We know that they want this opportunity. And so we work with amazing organizations across the country and even in this area.
Right. And of course, here's case in point of someone who took and did such a great job. And you've got to be out there saying, more corporate partnerships, come on board. Like if you're hearing this today and you're like, oh, I want to connect with them, you can do
Absolutely.
that, right?
And I think when the students come to you, right, you have the expectation. Their interns were teaching them, but the ones who really take grasp and say, I'm going to learn this, be an expert or be the best I possibly can, those candidates will be far better in a position we need to fill than someone we don't have any experience with. On paper, they sound good, but I don't know. But here I have for 6 months, this person proved to me, maybe I'll fill the position with them instead because they're going to continue to develop and keep doing good work.
Yeah.
And that's why I advertise this not only within my own firm, but outside, right? Anybody who says, I don't know what I want to do, I have an idea for you. Try this program.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And of course, we're talking about this. We might get a lot of people excited with growth and success come need. So what is it that you need at Europe here at your site, Lisa? What are the main things that you really every day I'd like to have more of this?
Wow, I would like to have more of everything that we offer. I would like to have more technology support. I would like to have more corporate partners. But Emerson said something that was, very key. It's about the partnership. It's about your desire. It's about when you come in organizations, because we are our best selves when we are in an interview. We are our best selves. And is that really who you are and how you show up? And so the benefit of Year Up is we always tell our young adults, whether your internship experience or your work-based, training is 3 months, 6 months, 6 weeks. They get that opportunity. It is a 6-month interview. It is a 3-month interview. They get to know who you are as a professional, not just your best self in an interview, right? And so I love that. So I would love more corporate partnerships. We have interest. We have young adults. And a lot of it comes through word of mouth. They meet at Emerson. They know Emerson 7 years ago versus Emerson, today. And they're like, I want to know more about the program. And so the student interest is there. But the needs are different. Technology needs are different. The corporate partnerships. We are an organization where we need that support, right? If we say you come in and you do what you're supposed to do as you're learning and as you're developing, you will earn, right, this next phase to be able to have this hands-on experience in this second phase. We need companies and we need the partnerships to be able to do that, or we need resources. And so we would love people to come and tell people about Year Up, recommend young adults to Year Up, or say, I would love to partner with Year Up and be a internship partner, or to be a partner that allows them to gain that work-based experience. If you say, I just want to donate some resources or money to the organization because I want to be a part of that movement, because as we talk about it in Year Up, this is a movement. This is not something we're just doing today and be gone tomorrow. It's a movement that we've been able to do since 2000 that I'm excited and proud to be a part of.
That's amazing. I love the movement. That's great. And of course, if somebody's listening and they want to be a part of a movement, what would you say to them, Emerson, if they just have a little bit of question, but might be like you, I'm okay. I don't think I need that in my life. What would you say to someone?
I think you just have to take that step forward and just apply. Just do it. Because worst case scenario, you learn a bunch of skills and maybe it wasn't for you, but you learned a lot, right? And the second part is there's so much success stories out there. Even within my own firm, there are VPs who came from Year Up, right? There are different people in our cyber teams. There are people in our accounting teams that came from Year Up. And when I see Year Up on a resume, that resume gets pushed forward a lot faster.
It's a family. It's a movement and a family. Is that safe to say?
A movement, it's a family, it's a brand. Year Up is a brand, and we stand behind what we do.
And I actually recently hired someone, and they got interviewed quickly because they had Year Up on their resume.
There you go. There you go. And as far as looking forward, what do you, when you see things, and I know this is from personal perspectives, it's not really from the organization, but what do you both see? What do you hope to see from Europe? I know you said it's a movement. I don't know much more if you can be any more forward thinking than that, but what are some things you'd love to see just in the coming year or 2 or 3 years?
Continued growth, right? Continued growth. I would love to be able to continue to admit more students into the program. It's a movement, and the number, if you think about 12 million jobs that, that are out there, it's like, I can't, we can't support or bring in enough students to meet what the need is. And so just more. So continued growth, continued partnership in our area. We have organizations, we have colleges that want to partner with us, and to be able to do that. My current college partner, they want us. I know we talked about the electrician earlier. They're saying, can you come and do a Year Up with our, electrical department, with our refrigeration, and so I see growth. I see companies and organizations and even our college and community partners that want us to grow. And so we have to have the resources to be able to do that. There's no way that we can grow if we can't say at the end of the day, we have this opportunity for you to be able to learn, practice, and then go and work forward in it.
And I think, just kind of jumping off that as well is expanding what the future of tech is going to be, right? Because we focus on the customer service, support, cyber. This AI thing is not going away.
Right.
We need more people in that field. And from our perspective, that's the path forward right now, right? Developing those skill sets, right? As I like to tell people, the future of the market, in my opinion, is the people who are going to build the robots.
Right.
And that's
right. Oh, it's so true. That's very forward thinking. Although it's really here.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really here now. And of course, we were talking about getting involved. Are there just opportunities to have volunteers? Are there people that can help just if they want to volunteer with Year Up?
Absolutely. We definitely have volunteer, but that's how our students learn and that's how they grow. It is through our volunteer opportunities. And so it's one thing, again, to get the book work and to get the education and learn. And then if you go on an interview and you flop the interview, right? So there are opportunities to come and just tell your stories, to be a guest speaker, to say, what was your journey? What movement were you a part of? And how did you get to where you are? There are opportunities to come and volunteer and interview. So we do mock interviews. We do resume reviews. And so we build a professional portfolio. So when a young adult comes in, I love to look at resumes when they come in and then look at resumes when they walk out. And so we have an opportunity to build their portfolio. And so we have volunteers that come in just to sit across the table and look at a resume and build that resume and that portfolio, to interview those young adults, to continue to build those skills in real time, but with practice as well. Not take this book and this theory and go out and do it. We allow them to practice, do it, and they go out and be the professional that they've been wanting to be.
And you talk about wanting to be a professional and building a resume. Do you see a lot of young people who come in who have it? They just didn't know they had it.
Absolutely.
Probably every single one of them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's the fight between, were you born a leader, right? Or did you learn to be a leader?
Right.
I won't do that on the podcast. I won't make us answer that. But absolutely, I feel that students come in and, oh, you're ready. Okay. Do you need a year out? Okay, got it. So they come in because, in my opinion, they were born with this thing. And they come in already ready. And what we do is we get to pull it out. We get to hone in on those skills, and they just go. And there's some students that have never had the experience, and they come in and they need to grow in certain spaces, and they grow and they learn to become the leader that they need to be. So I believe in both. You're born with it, or you can learn it. And I believe that's the Year Up student. They come in, we hone in on a skill, and they walk out what they're wanting to be.
And we love how you say that that you're honing in on those amazing attributes. They may not, sometimes we don't see these things in ourselves. We need somebody else to see that in us.
Or that they were told they couldn't do it. And so I tell my young adults, I had a hard time recruiting students for an engineering program because they didn't believe that they were smart enough or good enough to be an engineer. Absolutely, you are.
I 100%
Absolutely
agree with that one.
Ken.
I've seen so many people come in, interns after me, with, well, I'm here for this. I don't know anything of what they're saying. Well, there's an ability to learn it. We can learn it. We can talk about it. And I have many examples through the years where I've sat down for an hour with students on a weekly basis and taught them a skill set that they didn't know they could do.
Absolutely.
And by the end of the course, they're like, this was not as hard as I thought it was going to be.
That's and what are some of those skill sets? What are the things that maybe people don't realize they have?
The most common one I see is not really the hard skills. A lot of times it's the soft skills, right? The ability to be a good customer service person is sometimes very distant to people, right? Maybe they've come straight out of high school. They've never worked a fast food job or retail, so they don't have that experience. And they come in saying, well, I'm a little nervous, or I'm embarrassed to talk, or I'm this and that, right? They're giving themselves a reason why they can't. And, I always train them. I was like, you're having a conversation with a person. That's what it is. You have friends? Do you talk to them? They're not your friends, but you can talk to them, right? It's just a conversation, and you're there to help them. So, you have the skill set. You have the ability to talk to these people. One of the recent interns we had that has now converted into a contract with us, he didn't want to go talk to somebody that he was interested in their role. Then I said, he's right there. Go talk to him. Just say hello. Introduce yourself. He's like, no, I have to think of what I'm going to say. Why? How did you come to say hello to me this morning? Did you think about that? No. Go and talk to him. And so, he was toying with the idea a little bit. And I simply called that individual over and I said, have you met him? And I walked on my own way.
You're the coach. You're coaching. A lot of coaching goes into this, right? Life coaching.
A lot of coaching. And one of the skills that we do to build just exactly what Emerson is talking about is the elevator pitch. Our students, they hate it. They don't. What do you want me to talk about myself? You want me to what do you want me to say? And so we talk about this 2-minute elevator pitch or your 30-second elevator pitch. And that's something that they believe that they can't do. They cannot talk about themselves. And so they learn how to do that. Who are you? Nobody can tell your story better than you can tell your story. And so we allow them to construct, if you will, organize your thoughts and to be able to do that. And we've had so many graduates that have come back that said, thank you for making me do my elevator. I just had to speak to the CEO as I was in the Starbucks line or in the actual elevator. And so that's something that the students, I can't talk in front of people. You want me to talk in front of people? You want me to say this about myself? One of the practices that we have is feedback. We give feedback every week.
Every week. So you meet with them every week.
Every week.
Wow.
There is a scheduled meeting that we call feedback. So there's a scheduled space where we give feedback. But we also say in that meeting or in that space that this shouldn't be a surprise. So you should have had this conversation one-on-one. But it's about what I appreciate. It's about your strengths and then your growth areas. Some things that may be in your blind spot that you didn't see. I appreciate how you show up. And I want to challenge you to do this next thing. And so that's what we do with our young adults. We challenge them to see things that are in their blind spot. This is another area of growth. Not a bad thing. We all grow, right? We don't, people think they fail. And I tell them all the time, it's not failing. It's a learning lesson. It's a lessons learned. What did you learn from it? And so we give that feedback and they walk away and say, oh, I can do it. But so long, people told them that they couldn't.
I definitely remember that.
I was going to ask you, do you remember your seed test? How many years ago? We won't.
I mean, we'll tell you that.
Date.
I remember. It's clear because it's always the same. It was Friday, feedback Friday. Remember, guys, when you want to give constructive criticism, it is a growth area.
It's a gift. It's a gift.
Mm-hmm. I remember clearly that. I still use it today when I talk to some of the junior guys.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Your elevator pitch?
No, the feedback system. I still.
Good. Like, what example?
I will say when I was an intern, I used the elevator pitch a lot.
Yes. And for people who don't know, I think it's when you ride in an elevator, how long it takes you to tell your story, right? Or your nonprofit or your organization's story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to, but you still use yours.
Yeah, I still use it, and
we don't have very long. You want to tell us what your pitch is?
So interesting enough, when I talked to somebody in Europe, and recently our CIO, she's pretty new, and she took over. I sat there and I gave her the explanation, and I said, Europe's a great thing. I came from it. It's a program that gives opportunity to students, right? They're going to learn 6 months. They're going to learn how to write an email, a little bit of tech, and then they're going to be handed off to an internship where they can really make big impact, but it's going to be on them, right? Right? It's a hand up, right? Not a handout, right? And I don't forget that. They said it all the time. And I keep implementing it. As the interns come in, I was like, I was Europe. I remember. So I'm giving you the opportunity. And I make it clear to them, I don't have the time. So I make the intro. You have to really chase it.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I don't think there's any way else to end this wonderful conversation. What an amazing story. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for all you're doing with Year Up.
Thank you.
And where are you in the energy level right now? You're good, right?
Oh, I'm good. I'm always good. I think the podcast name is so fitting. I'm always good.
We're good. That's right. Well, we can't thank you enough for joining us. And if people are listening and you want to know more about Year Up, it is just yearup.org.
It's yearup.org.
Okay. And then you can, it's a very great website. You can click around to find ways to engage or sign up or get more information.
Absolutely.
We just really want to thank you all. Thanks for taking the time. We know you're very busy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We really appreciate it. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today. And thank you and our listeners. Of course, we'd love for you to listen and follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you've enjoyed the podcast today, we sure hope you'll follow us on We're Good as we continue to seek out the good, like at Year Up, that's going on in our neighborhoods and our communities. Until next time, please remember to celebrate the goodness by inspiring, connecting, and giving back, because we're good.
We are good.
We're good, and you are too. Thanks so much for joining us today.